What's up guys, welcome back to Finance to Fly. My name is Luke and I'm here to help you elevate your travel while minimizing your spending. Today we're going to be putting Chase Ultimate Rewards points and Amex membership rewards points head to head in a matchup. Let's jump in. First things first, when it comes to these competitors, we're going to go over which cards are their main cards, just so we have an idea of what I'm talking about, kind of their main earners, what they market to the masses, stuff like that. We're not going to be talking about small business cards at all because that's a whole different game, just the personal card so that it applies to the most amount of people. First, for Chase, they have about 4 cards that are marketed towards consumers, 2 Freedom cards, 2 Sapphire cards, the Freedom Flex, the Freedom Unlimited, Sapphire Preferred, and the Sapphire Reserve. For Amex, there are 3 main cards, the Amex Green, Gold, and then Platinum. Both brands do have other cards that earn ultimate rewards points, whether it's a product change into them or it's just a smaller tier card, but these are the main mass marketed cards that are available for consumers and a lot of people have, and that's what I want to compare and go over and see which one's which for better people. That being said, I do have videos on most of these cards. I will link them down in the description below. Make sure to go check them out. I'm just going to give a brief overview of each card and what their earnings rates are and stuff like that. But for an in-depth dive of the cards, make sure you go check out the videos below. For the card comparisons, we're going to compare the 3 cards versus 3 cards. Yes, I did 3 cards, and even though I mentioned 4 Chase cards, technically you can only have 1 Sapphire card, so a Reserve or Preferred. We're going to assume you do have the Reserve though, because it's just an upgraded version of the Preferred, and we'll get to that in a second. And another reason why we're going to use the Reserve is because it's a better competitor to the Amex Platinum with the $550 annual fee and what the earnings rates are pointed towards. For comparison, we're going to start with the 2 top-tier travel cards from each brand. The first is the Chase Sapphire Reserve, comes in at a $550 annual fee, while the Amex has the Platinum that comes in at a $695 annual fee. Earning rates on the Reserve earn 5x points on flights through the Chase Travel Portal, 10x points on hotels and car rentals through the Chase Travel Portal, 3 points per dollar spent on dining and all other travel, then 1 point per dollar spent everywhere else. The Amex Platinum earns 5 points per dollar spent on flights booked directly with airlines up to the first 500,000. And then 5 points per dollar spent on hotels and airlines booked through the Amex Travel Portal, 1 point per dollar spent everywhere else. Yes, the Amex Platinum does have coupon book style credits, but I just want to leave this at face value of the annual fee so that in case you don't hit any of the credits, you know exactly what you're getting compared to the Sapphire Reserve. Overall, head to head, when I'm comparing these 2 cards, I personally would give this win to the Sapphire Reserve just because they have those higher earnings rates on rental cars and hotels through the Travel Portal. And then you also get the 3 points per dollar spent on dining, which you don't get with the Amex Platinum, not to mention the lower annual fee. And we're not even going to talk about the travel credits like I mentioned that you get with each card, because we're just going to talk about the base points and annual fee. Obviously that will play an effect how much you can get those credits, but we're not even going to talk about that. But as far as earning rates, annual fee go, I would give it to the Sapphire Reserve. We'll talk more about the cards later when it comes to travel protection. So now for the middle tier cards, which is what I would say is the Chase Freedom Unlimited and the Amex Gold. The Freedom Unlimited comes with a $0 annual fee, while the Amex Gold comes with the $325 annual fee. For the earnings rates, the Unlimited earns 5% back through the Travel Portal, 3% back on dining and drugstores, and then 1.5% back on everything else. The Amex Gold, on the other hand, earns 4 points per dollar spent on dining and groceries, up to a $50,000 cap on dining and a $25,000 cap on groceries. It also has 3 points per dollar spent on airfare and 1 point per dollar spent everywhere else. Comparing the 2, I'd personally go with the Gold, winning this matchup because of the grocery multiplier. Even though you have a $25,000 limit on it, you do get that grocery multiplier, which is really nice. And it's also nice if you don't want to get the Amex Platinum, because you do get 3 points per dollar spent on all airfare, and that's not capped. So I do think those outvalue the 1.5% cash back and then the 5% in the Travel Portal in this matchup. I don't want to say it wasn't a close battle though, because the Amex Gold does come with that $325 annual fee, whereas the Freedom Unlimited comes with a $0 annual fee, and that does make a difference, but still have to give it to the Gold. Lastly, we're going to look at the Freedom Flex versus the Amex Green. The Flex has a $0 annual fee and as of the time of this recording, the Amex Green has a $150 annual fee. For the Freedom Flex, you'll earn 5% through the Chase Travel Portal, 5% on rotating categories, 3% on dining and drugstores, and then 1% everywhere else. The Amex Green, on the other hand, earns 3 points per dollar spent on dining, travel, and transit, and 1 point per dollar spent everywhere else. This is honestly a very close matchup in terms of value you get from one card to the next, but I would have to go with the Freedom Flex. That's because when you put the 3 points per dollar spent or 3% back on dining, they're kind of equal. Then you got the travel and transit, which could be covered by other cards. Really big kicker here is the 5% rotating categories with the Freedom Flex. Yes, there is a $1,500 limit, but that could end up being a 5% back on groceries, gas, stuff like that aren't hit by the other card in Chase's portfolio, which would be nice. Plus, you're getting that annual fee difference of $150, which is huge. Overall, if you're putting these 3 cards together and were to have a one card issuer setup, you'd pay $550 in annual fees for Chase, over $1,100 when you're paying for Amex's 3 card setup. Granted, you probably don't need the Amex Green if you do have the gold, just because the overlap in restaurants and travel, but that's over double the annual fees you would be paying for. I'd say even though Amex Gold does cover the grocery, I do say the Chase lineup is better overall, just because the lower annual fees, you get a little bit more categories with dining and drugstores, and you get the 5% rotating category with the Freedom Flex that can apply to groceries, gas, stuff that the Amex ecosystem just doesn't have. It has a minimum multiplier of 1.5% cash back with the Freedom Unlimited, which is just better than Amex, even though you could technically have 2 points per dollar spent minimum with the Amex, but that's a business card, and we're not talking about business cards. Moving on to something that would be targeted for people that want to earn a lot of points quickly, and that's going to be the sign-up bonuses and the sign-up bonus rules when it comes to each card issuers. Chase, you obviously have the 5 and 24 rule, which means you can only get 5 cards in a 24-month period, and anything over that, so say you have 3 Bank of America cards, 2 Chase cards, well, when you're over that 5 and 24, and you've opened up those 5 cards within the last 24 months, you cannot get a new Chase card because it is a pretty much hard limit on the inquiry on your credit score. You also have the 24-month rule on the Freedoms, which means you can't get a new card sign-up bonus for 24 months after getting a previous one. And then you have the 48-month rule with the Sapphires, which is pretty much the same as the 24-month rule. On the Amex side, though, you do have the lifetime rules, which means every 7 to 10 years, once the lifetime limit resets, you can get a new sign-up bonus. But that is ultimately up to Amex in the end. If you can get a new sign-up bonus, it's pretty much once in a lifetime to get the sign-up bonus, and they'll let you know if you're able to get the sign-up bonus through a pop-up banner right before you accept your card if you're going to get the sign-up bonus or not. As far as sign-up bonuses go, the Freedoms have a standard $200 after $500 spent in the first 3 months, while the Sapphires have a standard sign-up bonus of 60,000 points after 4,000 spent in the first 3 months. The Freedoms also do come with a 15-month 0% APR period, which is pretty nice. And then for the Amex card, they have a staggered sign-up bonus. For the Green, you'll get 40,000 points after 3,000 spent in the first 6 months. For the Gold, you'll get 60,000 points for 6,000 spent in the first 6 months. And then the Platinum, you'll get 80,000 points for 8,000 spent in the first 6 months. Those are the standard sign-up bonuses, and you can oftentimes get higher sign-up bonuses, even double for the Amex Platinum. You can get up to 175,000 points for the same amount of spend in the same amount of time. And that's why I would say, as far as sign-up bonuses go, I would definitely say Amex has the better rules, the better limits, and the better points for getting sign-up bonuses when it comes to the personal side. If you get all 3 Chase cards, you'd get about 100,000 points. Meanwhile, you can almost get 200,000 points with one Amex sign-up bonus. And yes, Chase does have elevated offers, but they don't happen that much, and they're pretty much capped at 80,000 points. Maybe you'll get 90,000 points, but they're not that good compared to Amex's. Plus, Amex, you have upgrade, downgrade offers, stuff like that, and then you're able to apply 7 to 10 years down the road again for the same card. Granted, you beat the lifetime system. So we've been talking about these points. What are they worth? Well, with Chase, if you have the Sapphire Preferred, they're minimum worth 1.25 cents per piece. Or if you have a Chase Sapphire Reserve, you'll have a 1.5 cent per piece minimum. The Freedoms are 1 cent per piece minimum, but you can transfer those over to a Sapphire card. That really is the nice thing about the Freedoms and the Sapphires. You can combine all the points, get that 1.5 cent per point minimum out of the Sapphire Reserve. And the reason why you can get these minimums is because when you book through the travel portal, you'll get a 25 or 50% bonus if you have the Sapphire Preferred or the Reserve when you use points through the travel portal. For Amex, your minimum cent per point value is going to be about 0.6 cents per point when you redeem for statement credits. You can redeem them also through the travel portal for 1 cent per point. And then if you have the Amex Platinum Charles Schwab edition, you can cash them out for 1.1 cents per point through your brokerage. But I would 100% give Chase the win for the base points value because it's so much easier to redeem a 1.5 cent per point rate. Not only is it higher than Amex's, it's almost pretty much minimum through the travel portal. Meanwhile, the minimum for Amex is a 0.6 cent per point rate, which is pretty bad, and it's a lot easier just to get the good value out of Chase points than Amex. So now that we've covered the base value of what these points are worth, what is the transferable value out of these points? And first we're going to start off with airlines. Chase has 17 transferable airline programs while Amex has 17. Just because they have more doesn't mean they're better, but I would say in this case Amex does have more and they are better. Specifically ANA, they have the transfer partner to there, and then Hawaiian Airlines as of right now has the transfer partner from Amex. ANA, because you can book round trip business class flights for 88,000 miles to East Asia. Granted, you have the wait time of 2 to 4 days of your points being transferred over, and then you have to find the award availability on ANA's site. But for right now, Hawaiian puts Amex over the edge easily just because you can transfer your Amex points to Hawaiian miles and then Hawaiian miles to Alaskan miles, which Alaskan miles are really valuable, pretty much equal to American Airlines because you can get 70,000 mile standard award rates flights from the US to Asia, Europe, stuff like that. You can get standard award rates with minimum taxes and fees. That's why I would say Amex does beat Chase in this point of airline transfer partners, but I'm not going to say they completely beat them because moving on to hotel partners, they both have 3, and the main difference is that Chase has Hyatt, Marriott, and IHG, whereas Amex has Hilton, Marriott, and Choice Privileges. It's easy to see right here, most points for hotel programs are worth less than 1 cent per piece, but Hyatt stands out where they're worth 2.2 to 3 cents per point in value, especially if you get a high-end hotel or stuff like that. I would definitely give the hotel transferable points win to Chase. I mean, I wouldn't even transfer points to IHG, Hilton from Amex, stuff like that. Hyatt's pretty much the only consistent value out of them all of the hotel programs, and that's why I would definitely give Chase the win for hotel programs. Overall, it is a toss-up, just depends on what you use, which airline program you use the most, stuff like that, for who's going to win the overall matchup on transferable points, but I'd give 1-to-1 to 1 win to Chase, 1 win to Amex, just on the airlines, and then the hotels. Just up to you what programs you use the most though. Lastly, we're going to briefly cover the travel protections and which card issuer would have the best travel protections. I did make a video on this, a brief video on this a while back, and this little segment will be brief because most of the information I get is from an article done by Frequent Miler, and I don't want to take too much information and give it out without you being able to go look at their own website. So I'm just going to give their brief overview. You can go do a deep dive on their website where they have all the travel protections of all the major card brands laid out and pretty easy to explain. But to sum up the travel protections, you can see on the graph on the screen right now, not only does Chase have more coverage in different areas, but they also have this pay in partial program where Amex doesn't have as much travel protections and you have to pay in full. Pretty much the pay in partial, it means you only have to pay a partial amount of your trip on the Chase card, say the Sapphire Reserve, the Chase Ritz-Carlton card. If you pay for your trip partially on this card, you'll get all the travel protections. Meanwhile, with Amex, you have to pay your full amount of the trip on your Amex Platinum, otherwise you will not get the travel protections. And that's kind of why I say Chase has much better travel protections and is going to get the win on this one. That's where Chase takes the cake. It's pretty simple for me to understand just because of the pay in partial versus pay in full. Not only that, but Chase does cover more things than Amex. Pretty simple, give Chase the win right there. So reviewing what we went over, we did end up giving Chase the win when it comes to the card lineups, but when it came to sign-up bonuses and sign-up rules, Chase did take the L and Amex won there. When it came to base points, Chase did get a win because they have just a simple way to get a lot of value out of your points without having to do any transferring out of the program. But where the ties came in, the transferable points values, Amex and Chase both did get a tie because it really depends on how you transfer your points points and who do you transfer your points to. And then lastly, we compared the travel insurances. This was the 5th category we compared, and we said Chase won just because you can pay in partial for your trip and still be covered, and they had much more coverage in different categories. In total, we had 5 different categories. Chase won 3 of them, Amex won 1 of them, and there was a tie in 1 of them. In your opinion, do you think Chase won this much? Did I miss anything? Let me know down in the comments below. So now for my thoughts on this matchup and where I stand in terms of it. As much credit as I do give Chase, I do think the biggest valuable asset between these two programs is the Amex points and the Amex sign-up bonuses. While the Chase cards do ultimately have a lower annual fee and are easier to hold year after year, I'm currently in the process of getting a bunch of Amex sign-up bonuses, have been over the last couple of years, and I've been able to build up a much larger storage of Amex points than Chase points due to the sign-up bonuses. And while I do earn Amex points easier, I've spent my Chase points much quicker just due to the value that they hold with Hyatt, with Southwest, with United, a bunch of transfer partners that I just have used and have been really easy to use with finding award space and stuff like that and getting good value out of them. But in the end, not only that, I use my Chase Ritz-Carlton card for paying for all my airfare just so that partially of my trip is paid for with a Chase card, so I am protected. But overall, I do use both programs just depending on what the use is for, whether it's for airfare, hotels, paying for something, a sign-up bonus, award stay, stuff like that. I do use both programs. I do value them both pretty much equally. Give Chase a little bit more credit than the Amex though when it comes to the soft benefits rather than the hard benefits of the point multipliers. I do value Chase a little bit more than Amex though, just because they do have a lot more benefits to earning and holding their cards, where Amex you get more benefits from churning your sign-up bonuses and stuff like that. Either way, it is good for you to be flexible with both rewards programs and earn in both with them in case something were to ever happen. And with that being said, what do you think? Did I miss anything? Did I get anything right? Did I get anything wrong? What program do you like more? And what cards do you have from each program? Let me know down in the comments below, and if you could hit that like and subscribe button, it would be greatly appreciated. Until next time, have a great day.